The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by ShootProof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 114. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Curran. On last week's episode, we had a listener comment about Micro Four Third cameras, Windows Surface RT and Pro get price slashed, and why you should not upgrade to Lightroom 5 yet. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo.
Hey, we are back. How you doing, Joe?
We are back. I am doing very well. Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning to you, too. We're recording the show early.
Yeah.
Early for a change. Yeah.
That's so rare.
I know. We're both kind of snotted up this morning, too. So
yeah, that's all right.
Forgive us if we, have to
have a sneezing fit.
Or something, yeah.
Coffee's going and stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, so, last show was kind of heavy, right, Trev, with all of the Adobe, craziness.
The last several shows have been pretty heavy shows. A lot of controversial type things and, kind of down in the mouth sounding type of things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's like it's summertime. It shouldn't be like that.
No,
it
it's all good, right?
So.
Swimming,
it's all
sunshine.
Good. That's right. Yeah, gumdrops and candy falling from the sky or something.
Right.
Yeah. So, this week we're going to try to keep it a little bit lighter, give you a little bit of news, some stuff that's going on that, that you might be interested in. So, starting out, we know that probably a good portion, I would say half or maybe even more of you guys are shooting with Nikon. And Nikon just released a firmware update that if you don't know about it, you should know about it. And you should install it immediately, right, Trev?
Yeah. This is version 1.009.
That's right.
And it's update for a whole bunch of cameras: the D4, D90, D600, D800, blah 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 blah, a whole bunch of them. So definitely check it out. But this actually is a good firmware update because it provides corrections for the lens barrel distortion that you get, which is pretty cool, that normally you're having to fix in post-production, but this is actually taking care of it inside the camera.
Yeah, so, most of us use Lightroom. We like Lightroom about for its barrel correction, its pinch correction and whatnot, for distortion, basically, to kind of flatten out the images that that are kind of slightly distorted. You know how you always take a landscape picture, and for some reason the poles on the edges of the picture are kind of leaning in.
Right, exactly.
So that's a distortion that that this corrects for, and correcting anything in the camera. We say this all the time. Same thing with sharpness. Correcting for sharpness in the camera and not doing it in post is the way to go. Correcting for barrel and pinch and whatnot is just do it in the camera, because at least the picture that you're editing is as close to the way you want it as possible. The programs do a good job at manipulating and mushing and contouring and pushing pixels, but just get it right in the camera and it won't have to do that, and you're going to end up with just tighter, better, sharper, just better pictures, period.
Yeah, that much less you have to do in post. So yeah, absolutely, definitely look into that. We'll have a link in the show notes for the article. You'll be able to go download the firmware if you haven't already. Of course, you can head over to Nikon's website. You can find it there in the firmware update section.
Right. Basically, it's the entire D line, I would imagine, pretty close from the consumer to prosumer. I would say more prosumer on up to the full pro body. So yeah, definitely take a look. Also what came through, which was kind of interesting, and we've talked about this in God, about 4 or 5 months ago, there was rumors out there about Apple TV, right? You know how I think you actually have an Apple TV little hockey puck, don't you?
Yeah, no, I have the big brick. I have the first generation Apple TV, which is like the size of a Mac Mini. It's like that 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 type of thing, which is really good. I love my Apple TV. I've used it a lot. I actually use it as a media streamer. So, you know, like when you buy DVDs in the store and you get the digital download copies like from iTunes and stuff, I can actually download the digital copies to iTunes and then stream that over my network to the Apple TV so we can watch it on the big TV as opposed to being limited to watching it just on the computer. So, I really dig the Apple TV. It's kind of like the Roku box or any of these other things out there. I don't have the new one, which is really nice, actually. The new one has a lot more capabilities for $100 and stuff. And it is a lot smaller. Like you said, it's the size of like a hockey puck. It's tiny. Really small. It's tiny.
It's cool. Yeah, the whole streaming thing with it just works really good. There's a couple of features that Apple TV has over, the Roku and Boxy Box and all the rest of the players. I think they're gone now. But anyways, it's pretty neat. But now, like we were talking about like about 4 or 5 months ago, Apple might actually be making a TV set.
Right.
And this was, rumored for a long time, but now the rumors are getting, let's say stronger and stronger. Supposedly they're courting LG and Sharp. LG, I think primary, Sharp secondary, I believe, to make a 55 or a 65-inch Apple TV, like an ultra,
like a TV
high-def
TV with the Apple TV built into it. The Apple TV software, I guess, integrated in it.
Right. So no more little tiny black hockey puck that you stick, into the back of your TV. This is an actual whole TV. So we know that Apple has their, displays right. I mean, their color is great. The pixel density is great on these things. They just look beautiful. That's one of the reasons why we moved into Apple long time ago with the first cinema displays. They're just amazing. They really look nice. So I can't even imagine an ultra high def Apple TV at 65 inches on the wall. With all chrome with the little black apple at the bottom.
Yeah, it's going to be designed really well. I mean, it's going to look hot and. But it's going to be priced accordingly. I mean, it's going to be expensive. I guarantee you. I mean, anything Apple's expensive. And, even though it may use an LG screen or a Sharp screen, you're going to be paying extra for that Apple brand name.
Yeah. I would imagine that the QC, the quality control that goes into that must be amazing.
It'll be top of the line, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
It'll be really good. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we've talked about, having a HD monitor set up in your studio, potentially using your Apple TV to feed it photos and things like that, or even we talked about that little Pi box, right? That little Linux
server
thing, right? For doing slideshows and stuff in your studio. So, this kind of gives you some added capabilities. I mean, if you're really into design and you want to get a nice high-tech, super high-definition TV and you're willing to drop, probably
it's
$5,000.
It's going to probably be more, I'm going to guess. But could you imagine your pictures, like some landscapes just, displayed on a 65-inch, Apple TV?
Yeah.
It would be pretty nice. So, it's the beginning, just like anything else.
Yeah, rumors stuff.
They're going to come in there with a very high price tag, and then it's just going to slowly go down just slightly. And that's just how it is. You can either afford it or you don't. So
Right.
But, exactly. Also we found a lot of us we've moved into SSD from hard drives, especially if you have like a Apple MacBook Air or something like that. All of these really thin laptops now use SSD because there's no moving parts and they're extremely fast.
Right. Yeah. Solid state drive SSD.
That's right. Samsung now, once again, we talk about Samsung all the time. Once again, has done it right, and it seems like we say this every week. Samsung now has come up with a drive that actually exceeds their old drive. They had an SSD drive called the Evo. I think it's like an 840 or something, and that thing wrote at 540 megabytes per second.
Which
right?
is extremely fast.
It is crazy fast, right?
I mean, you can pretty much do anything you need to do with a drive like that.
Exactly. Well, their new drive, their new SSD, which once again, it's a 2.5 inch, enterprise class SSD drive. Their new one, it's called an NVMe. This drive is going to be writing at 3,000 megabytes per second. That is 3 gigs. Can you imagine that?
That's just sick. I can't even imagine that. I mean, what
3 gigs?
Capturing and editing, let's say 4K video is what you need this type of drive for, or for servers. For a large server farm where you've got a bunch of people who are accessing the server. Not web server, corporate server. Where you have files, a file server.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, having drives that are that fast, I mean, your data basically at that point will be limited by the network you're connected to.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, gigabit Ethernet at 1,000, megabytes per second. But then some installations will have fiber going to the computers. So really, I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, you're limited by the weakest link, and now your hard drive is not going to be your weakest link. I know as an administrator for some time, we used to use all like Raptor drives, and we do RAID arrays on like SCSI 15,000 RPM drives. Now, most of you guys know about 5,400 RPMs and 7,200 RPMs. Imagine 15,000 RPM.
You get a couple of those suckers put together in a RAID, and it sounds like an airplane taking off.
Jet. Yeah, exactly. A jet flying. Well, those things only did like 300 megabytes, 600, not that much. This thing is pushing 3,000 megabytes. Now, this is not going to go over the SATA, the SAT drive. It's not quote unquote SAT. It is going over the PCIe bus, and that's the only way that they're going to be able to get those numbers. Obviously, speeds, I predict everything's going to go light anyways. We're going to have, first we're going to go with the fiber connections, and then we're going to go with the fiber, light basically in the computer also pushing and get away from the copper. Basically, eventually that's what will end up happening.
Sure.
But anyways, it's going to be in 400 gigabyte, 800 gigabyte, and 1.6 terabyte. Which is good. And if any of you guys are doing video, production work or anything like that, it's definitely something to look into. It's going to be expensive, but it will save time because the writes are just,
Well, it's going to be expensive when it's first introduced, but as with everything, all technology, I mean, after it's been out on the market for a while, those prices are going to start coming down and down and down. I mean, just look at the new Mac Pro that we talked about a couple weeks back. That's all solid state. And those read-write speeds, those hard drive speeds were nuts as well.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that, I guarantee you the new Mac Pro is going to be more expensive than the Mac Pro line that's on the market now. Although Apple has always tried to keep their Mac Pro costs in line with each generation. So I would love to see this new Mac Pro design come out at $2,500. But I just have a feeling it's not. I have a feeling it's going to be more than that.
It could. I guess it's yet to be seen. I don't know. Just like you said, Apple does do that. They try to give you more and keep the price identical, and then this way people don't feel like they're spending more. But the price just seems to never go down because it really doesn't.
Right.
So, but anyways, I tell you what, guys, we have a lot more to get across to you guys today. But before we go into anything further, let's go ahead and hear from a couple of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener.
As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event. We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print.
So, all right, Trev, we are back. So, something else that we found in the news, I guess I would say, for this week was Instagram is now providing web embeds, which is really interesting. It sounds similar to what YouTube does, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, a couple weeks ago, we talked about Instagram announcing video, that they added video to the applications. And of course, we know Instagram is owned by the Facebook crew over there. So this is really big, and they're always now Facebook is trying to do more integration with it. You know, get it. You know, get this new Instagram that they own out there in more places. So yeah, they just rolled out a new embed feature. So if you visit a photo or video actually on the Instagram site, you can actually go in and click on a button to get embed code, which is really cool. So, you know, as photographers, if we're out there, you know, shooting with Instagram, you know, uploading to Instagram and stuff from our mobiles, you know, now it gives you the ability to take that photo and easily drop it into a blog post, you know, embed it into a blog post, as opposed to taking it from your camera roll, uploading it, blah, 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 all that stuff. Because now it will actually, at the top of the photo or the video, it will actually have your Instagram profile photo with a link to your profile. And also the Instagram logo is there. And if you click on it, it will actually take you to the photo or video page on Instagram's website, which is pretty cool.
That is. That really is. I mean, you know, how can we use this? Like we said, as a photographer, I mean, if you're let's say doing a wedding or some type of event, you can definitely take some snapshots with your camera, you know, with your camera phone, and immediately upload them. Obviously, go straight into Instagram. You could have a page on your website that is just waiting for that data. That's just you know, hunting for it. Let's say it's and then right there you'll have, you know, Tom and, you know, Sue's wedding, you know, stuff popping up, which is, it's kind of interesting. And we know that people and families like that kind of thing. They like that instant access to the pictures. And there's very little photographers out there that are providing stuff like that are getting like decent shots on the web for family members, let's say around the world, to be able to kind of see and, you know, interact almost and like and comment about a wedding that's going on the exact same day, the same hour and whatnot as it's happening. It could definitely be a feature added now that a lot of the cameras are starting to come out with the Wi-Fi enabled. So you can actually take like a picture, you know, and send it out that way, you know, with it connected or whatnot, or just simply use your camera phone, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, Instagram, you know, Twitter, the Twitter picture uploading and all that stuff, sharing photos on Facebook. It's all about shareable content. You need to create imagery that people are going to want to share. Now, if you do an event, if you're shooting a wedding, let's say, and you post a wedding photo on there, probably the only people that are going to share it are the friends and family of the bride and groom. Right. But from a photographer standpoint, having a Facebook page, having an Instagram, having your Twitter set up, you know, I would say create more artsy stuff, create more fun stuff. I mean, we are all creatives, right? So if you're out and about and you see something that looks really cool and you're looking at it with your creative photographer's eye, take a shot of it and share that type of stuff on your Facebook page on Twitter. And now, I mean, you can go back and write a blog post about it and say, oh, we were out with the family this weekend and we were, at this park or whatever. And I saw some amazing, light shining through the trees, reflecting off the water. And so I had to capture it here. Again, it's just an extension of your creativity. But what it does is it creates a really cool looking image that people will be happy to share. And that exposes you now to their friends who may never have even heard about you before. So it's all about social sharing, creating that shareable content.
Right. And I tell you what, if you just take one shot of the bride as like a headshot with your phone as she's putting on her veil, let's say, and not share it immediately, but share it, right as the wedding is started. So let's say the groom can't see, that image will be shared, by throughout the entire family in a moment because it's so timely. And it's a photograph of the person that they love and they wish they could be there, or they are there, matter of fact, and they're sitting in the pew and they're looking at that as she's getting ready. So very cool stuff. It's pretty neat. And, I could see Facebook going down this line because, Google's got it with YouTube and how you can embed the YouTube videos and whatnot. But what's cool with this is you're able to, embed video, but you could also embed photos.
Yep.
So it's very, very cool.
It's very cool.
Like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it too. It's a nice new feature they've added.
Yeah.
So now Facebook, back to our buddies at Facebook. A while back we talked about their graph search. This is their new method of aggregating search results, let's say. Facebook search has never really been that good. Usually you would put in the name of a person, the name of a page or something that you had interest in. And it would show you what it thought you were looking for. And then it said, not what you're looking for. And then it would show you web search results. So with all of this data that Facebook has collected from all of us and all of our posts and all of the data in our photos that we upload and everything, they've created this new graph search algorithm, this new search engine, let's say. And the idea of this graph is kind of like the social graph. The graph is the connections that you have. Your friends and family that you're connected to on Facebook are part of your graph. They're part of your social graph, as opposed to the people who you're not connected with.
Yeah. So you can view this as something similar to like Google's local search, whereas if you do a search for something, Google will say, oh, you're at this area code or you're in this location. Let's give you all of that information, but based upon your location. It's the same kind of thing. Here it's giving you the search results based upon your family members, your friends, everyone that you're connected with first. That doesn't mean that it's going to limit it to that. Just like Google's not going to limit to your local, but it will, let's say streamline or prioritize that over the next thing, which is, it's pretty cool. But you need to be weary of it too, and you need to know that if you want something private, you better mark it private, especially now, right?
Yeah, well, that's right. Any post that you guys have marked as public will be able to be searched through this graph search. Right. So if you're putting up just, pictures of your kids or something like that through your personal profile, you may want to keep those set private, to only friends, only, your connections can see. But things that are done on your Facebook page, of course, those are public. I always talk about Facebook page when it comes to business. I know there are a lot of photographers out there that use their personal profile for their business. And I've said multiple times over that technically is a violation of Facebook's terms of service. I know that everybody does it. A lot of people do it. Sure. If you're ever caught and they're not going to write you.
Police.
They won't write you the nasty gram. They'll just take your profile down and you'll be done.
Right.
They're not going to mess around with writing emails. Listen, guy, you're really not supposed to be. They're not going to do that. They're just going to take your profile down. So I always reference this stuff in terms of your Facebook page because that's really the safest and the best place to drive your traffic.
Yeah, I I tell you what, though, but for business, right, we're talking about it, personal and to be private. But for business, you don't want to be private, right? On your business page, you want to go as just as big as possible, as global as possible, as viral as possible. And, doing this is, having this this functionality now where it's doing the searches the way it is, just means more when it comes to how you meta tag your images, what you say, what tags you use, all of this stuff, because this is going to, build that profile on the message or the picture, and it's going to be either, it's going to be used accordingly. So, it's more important now with this new feature that we meta tag everything and really and tag and comment about. And
and you don't necessarily want to tag it with like Bob and Sue's wedding, because who knows who Bob and Sue is. But what you want to do is tag it with the name of the facility that you're at,
the venue,
or the name of the church. Because these are names that people will be searching. They're going to see if any of their friends have any comments about, a certain venue or what have you. And you want at that point your photos to show up for that venue. So tagging and keywording and writing the right descriptions for the photos are very important. Now more so than ever. So this whole graph search is in beta, and it's been slowly rolling out to a few select. But now they're rolling it out to more people in the U.S., in the English-speaking area of the U.S., basically the continental U.S. here. So you will probably
all the listeners from on the other side of the pond, they're not going to get this as of yet, but they will.
It's only a matter of time. Order. They want to slowly roll out the search results to make sure that things are working properly, that their system can handle it. And then once they do, they'll just blow it out to everybody. But right now they don't want to go too fast too soon. You'll know when you get it. You'll see a notification that pops up in your window saying, cautioning you about the content that you're sharing, to make sure that it's public, private, what have you, because of this new search feature. And the icon up by your search box at the top of the screen will change at that point.
Right.
So you'll notice it at that point.
And I tell you what, if we do share on our page on Facebook on a regular basis to show our work and possibly get new clients. And we're talking about meta tagging, putting metadata into photos. And we were talking about, it doesn't really matter what package you use. You could use Lightroom, you could use Aperture, whatever you use. But if you haven't done it yet, or if you don't know how to do it on the package that you use, find out how to globally put metadata onto images. And once you do that, your life will be much, much less miserable. Because what we do is, let's say if we're shooting a wedding and it's at a specific location, it was shot at a specific hotel, it was shot at a specific church or synagogue or whatnot, and all of this stuff, we actually meta tag each picture with all of this information internal to the picture, but we do it in one fell swoop. It doesn't take any effort at all, and that metadata then goes right into when we upload it. It's already there. Let's just put it that way. We don't have to go and retype it and redo it.
It is to certain social networks, though. I mean, remember a while back we reported on that, about all these different social networks stripping out that metadata.
Right.
So that is actually a big concern. And as I recall, I believe Facebook was one of those who was stripping out that metadata. So yeah, I mean, definitely you want to add that metadata in your catalogs, in Lightroom or Aperture, whatever you're working in. So it's there. It's good for your internal searching, first off. It's good that when the photos do get on the outside, that if the networks or the locations that you're uploading to are not stripping out that metadata, at least that data will be in there and will be searchable. They can see your copyright, things like that.
Exactly.
And on the networks, specifically Facebook, that are stripping it out, you just need to add it back into your descriptions.
Right. As long as it's there, at least from the beginning, at least you can copy paste it. After the fact. The bottom line is do it once. It's more efficient. It's more effective that way.
Right.
And then a perfect example is people share their images on Google. Right. That's like it's pretty popular. People are in there sharing Google, and they don't strip anything. They they leave everything alone. So
Right.
Put it in there, let it sit, and then you can copy paste it for after the fact. So
Cool. Very good.
But anyways, kind of a some good information, some more of a businessy and some newsy stuff. Kind of watch out for and whatnot. And I think we need to get out of here.
Yeah, we're done. We're going to keep it a little bit shorter this week, and I have a dentist appointment to run off to, which I'm not happy about, but
that's nice. A good drilling. For
yeah. So anyway,
fun.
all right. So Joe, we're done. We're out of here. If people want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way for them to reach you?
You guys can find me on Twitter. That's at Joseph Christina.
Excellent. And you can find me on Twitter, and it's at Trevor Current.
All right, everyone, that is it. You can get all the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/114. And don't forget to send your questions and comments to comments@digitalphotographycafe.com or simply call 440-345-6707. Once again, that is 440-345-6707. And we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.